everyone, my name is Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today I'll be tying a woolly bugger pattern with a little bit of a twist. I call this one my Golden Organza Bugger because I'll be using a mix of dubbings, a little bit of Peacock Black, as well as a iced up gold. I mix that together, and then I use organza as the hackle instead of hackle fiber. So this one's worked well for me in the past, so let's get her going. So today in the vise, I've got a BL 724 size 10 by Hends. I'm going to be using some, the lighting is terrible today, black Nanosilk by Semperfli. There we go, by Semperfli. For the dubbing, I'll be using a blend of ice dub and the hairline dub Peacock Black, the ice dub as well. And I'll just mix these two together and you get something like this. It's about 2/3 black, 1/3 gold. And then I'll be using a little bit of Hens Black Marabou for the tail. And I'm going to put a little bit of the Hens Angel Hair in the black in as well in the tail as a little bit of extra flash. Okay, so first things first, as always, because it's Nanosilk, just give it a bit of a wax, get your thread started. Now I tie this pattern with and without beads. I use a gold bead on it to enhance that gold fiber that's in the dubbing mix. But I don't. I'm not going to use it do it this time. I actually prefer an unweighted one, but it depends if I'm doing this for rivers or lakes or whatever. But this one has been really successful for me in the lakes. So with the Marabou, I take it and I strip it off one side of the quill. So I strip it and I fold it over, and then I strip it and I fold it over. If the quill actually cooperates, fold it over, pull it off the quill, fold it over, and pull it off, and then you're left with a little bunch. Right? And I'm just gonna even up my ends here, just for tie-in. And I want to. That's about the right length I want. I want about 1 times the length of the hook sticking past. I can always trim it in the field, so I always try to. I always like having it slightly longer. I used to always tie my flies to the length I wanted them, and then I did find that you know with there's times where the fish want it longer, so. But I can't make it longer in the field, but I can always make it shorter because it's easy enough to just grab and nip off, right? So I just like leaving that alone at the length. So that's about the right length that I want anyway. So that's good. So now I'm just going to go back up to the front, loose wraps. I'm going to take a little bit of this black angel hair. Now this stuff it's not your typical flash, right? So it's a little more hairy, right? I don't know if you can see that. So there's about 8 or 10 hairs there. I'm just going to fold that over once, and I'm just going to lay that right on top of the shank there. It's not going to look the prettiest at first. Never does with this stuff, but it's okay. This is just adding a little bit of flash into the tail of the fly, and I'm just going to give it a rough cut just a little bit past the length of the fly. It just gives you that, you know, half a dozen little fibers in there. Okay, so now I'm going to come back. Now, organza normally comes in a roll, right? And it comes in a strip like this. You see that? Okay. Well, if you cut it in half like this, you still got nothing, right? Because you've got these vertical pieces that are still in it. So you just have to take a bodkin or whatever and strip them out and then peel them out, and then you'll end up with that. Okay? So now, I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to create a little bit of a tie-in point. So I'm going to cut a little bit, just a little bit off of the ends, just so I've got a tie-in point of my center stem, see? And I'm just going to tie that in. right there in the back. Make sure that's tied down nicely. And now it's up to you which way you like to do your dubbings. You could just hand dub it on if you like. You can do a dubbing loop. You could do split thread. Totally up to you. I'm going to do split thread this time. Split thread for those beginners is a little bit more difficult to get started, like, just because you've got to be able to split that thread. But if once you've got it, I find it's better for handling. So I counterclockwise spin my thread to flatten it, and then I rub the back of it, and then I put it on my finger, and then I'm able to open it up, and as you can see, I've opened it up. So now I've already done my dubbing mix. So when you do your dubbing, when you're pulling it, you always pull it the same way and stack it. Pull, stack, always the same way, because that way you'll line up your fibers, and then that's how I want to put my fibers into my split thread, is that lengthwise. So, and then once it's in the split thread, now I can pull it apart a bit and spread it just so I get the length that I need. And then all I got to do is just spin my bobbin. Just give her a spin and let it do its thing. So I'm just spinning my bobbin clockwise now, not counterclockwise. I'm spinning it back clockwise. And this will put a bit of it'll make a noodle out of it, just like doing a dubbing loop, just like doing anything else, right? So now I've got my dubbing noodle. Gonna make sure I take my dubbing brush and just pull it out just a little bit, not a lot, and give it another quick spin. And now I start right at the back end, give it a couple of nice turns there, and then just wraps forward, just making sure you stroke all your material back lightly. Try not to crowd your head. Just lay that in there. So now that's what it looks like, a little scruffy there. So now I'm going to take my organza, make sure none of my tail comes with, and I'm just going to wrap it, just like I would do with a feather. So I'm just going to wrap it, and wrap it, all the way forward. And then once I get right there, right behind the eye where I stopped, I'm going to give it 2 to 3 wraps there. One. Let's see if I should go one more. No, I'm going to stop at 2. Just so you've got a little bit of extra of that organza hackle at the front, and you don't want to crowd your head, right? So you want to stop before you've crowded it too much. Just going to tie that in, take my organza, nip it off. The nice thing with this organza is it's got a natural, as you can see in the camera, it's got a natural sheen. It really picks up the light really well. Right? So now I'm just going to just build a little bit of a head here. Nothing major, just a little bit of a head. And then I'm going to take my Sally Hansen's. I'm going to put a little bit right on the thread. Whip finish. And then I will just give this dubbing a brush out in a second. Let's see. Okay, just nip that off. If you've got any little stragglers like that, I caught a couple there while I was whip finishing. I wasn't paying attention. Just nip them off or hit them with a lighter, whatever. Actually, I think I'll hit that one with a lighter. It's got a couple right in there, close to the eye. So I'm just going to hold everything back and just zip, zip with a lighter. It just melts it all. Done. Okay, now I'm going to take my dubbing brush and just give it just a couple of really light pull-outs. I don't want to go too crazy here. And that's it. That is it. That's the finished organza, golden organza buzzer. Bugger, sorry. So this one fishes really well for me. Sinking line. I've trolled it to do searching. I've ripped and stripped. I've done all kinds. So it does work really well for me. So fairly simple pattern. Organza you can pick up at any like Michael's or Joann's or whatever craft store that you have in your area. Just pick up the narrower stuff. I think this stuff is like 1 inch wide. It's 1.5. That's 5/8 of an inch. Yeah, 5/8 of an inch wide. The one I've got here. Right. Where's the size? There it is, right there. So, but it's just pick that up. You got to cut it in half and then just strip away the center. So it can kind of show you on one here. So I've got that one that's not done yet. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to go in there and just pull a fiber or two out, and then you can see that it pulls those fibers out. Sometimes it can get a little knotted up, but it will pull out. So you can see that it's pulling out there. And then you just keep doing that until you're down to that center core, and you'll end up with that. Right? So, alrighty. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give her a thumbs up. If you've subscribed already, thank you very much. If you haven't, please consider doing so. And once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a copy of my books. It'll be a random draw to all 1,000 subscribers. So, alrighty. Thank you very much. Tie lines, everyone.